ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your first Year 8 Maths video. Today we're going to be looking at adding and subtracting integers.
Ooh, integers. That's quite a big word, sir.
Right.
What's an integer?
Basically it's a number.
Okay.
It's a number that could be positive or negative.
Yep.
But importantly it's a whole number.
Ah, so no decimals, no fractions.
No.
Okay. So positive or negative whole numbers, like the numbers we see on a number line.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
Great way to visualise it.
Now I get what an integer is.
Fantastic. So let's start by looking at some of the operations that we can already have a good crack at.
Sure.
Example 1. We've got positive 3 in a bracket there, plus positive 2 in a bracket. Mr. Wilkie, why are we representing these in brackets?
Yes, when we look at integers, we really need to appreciate whether they're positive or negative, and we show that they are by putting that inside an actual bracket. But probably the first thing to do is to rewrite the question without that, because we already know a positive 2. We don't always write with that little plus sign in front of it. We generally just write it as a 2. So I'm going to rewrite this. Instead of positive 3, I'm just going to write 3. The plus stays the same. Instead of positive 2, I'm just going to write the 2. And sir, 3 plus 2?
5.
Incredible. Those holidays have not slowed him down.
Not at all.
At all. And look, we've got a similar one here. We're going to rewrite this one as well. Instead of positive 9 in there, I'm just going to write a 9 minus, instead of positive 5, I'm again just going to rewrite that as 5. And 9 minus 5, Mr. Ellis? 4. Fantastic stuff. You can already add and subtract positive integers. So what about example 3, sir? It looks similar, but I've got a feeling it's a little bit harder.
It is. So remember before we mentioned integers can be positive or negative? Sometimes our solutions can come out as negative numbers.
Okay.
And that might be the case here. We've got positive 4 subtract positive 9. So I'm going to set it out following the same strategy Mr. Wilkie did by rewriting the numbers. 4 subtract 9. Now 9 is greater than 4, so when I subtract that away, I get negative 5. I go into the negative numbers.
Okay, so that's quite challenging to visualise because I start off with 4 things. How do I take away 9? I get to the negatives. How can we visualise that?
Yeah, it can be a little bit tricky, but this is where we need to use one of our mathematical weapons.
Aha! Something like this, you were thinking?
Not that kind of weapon at school. We're going to use this weapon here, the number line.
Okay.
Yeah. So a number line can be a great way to visualise negative and positive numbers and changes between those. So when we do our operations, we can actually show it on a number line and get to our solution. So I'm going to start off by finding my first value, the positive 4, and marking that on my number line. And we've got a change of 9. I'm subtracting 9 away from it. So I'm going to do 9 little jumps on my number line until I get to my solution.
Aha.
So once I've done those 9 little jumps backwards to the left, I end up with negative 5.
Fantastic. So we rewrite the problem, then we use our number line, we identify where the first number is. If it's subtract, we go to the left. If it's add, we go to the right.
That's it.
And you've subtracted, counted all the way down, and there's our negative 5 answer.
That's it.
What a weapon. Okay, so Mr. Savage, these couple of examples look a little bit harder again. Will our strategy work for these ones?
I believe so. If we rewrite the expression without those brackets and use our math number line weapon, we should be okay.
Fantastic. So a 2-step strategy. I like it.
Yeah. So the first one I'm going to rewrite without the brackets. Now I've got a negative 2 as my first number, so I must represent that even without the bracket. Negative 2 is my integer. Plus positive 5, I can just write that as plus 5. Now I jump down to my number line, starting at my first value, negative 2, and I'm going to do 5 jumps to the right because it's plus 5. I've ended up here on positive 3, so that's my answer.
That is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Works
What
quite
about
well.
this one with a subtract?
Okay, so we've got negative 4 subtract positive 1. So when I rewrite it without the brackets, negative 4, subtract is my operation, and I no longer write that plus in front of the 1, so now I've just got negative 4, subtract 1. Jump down to my number line, start at negative 4, Subtract. Which way do I jump again, Mr. Wilkie?
Subtract goes further towards the negatives.
That's right. So I'm going to jump to the left once, and I end up here on -5. And there's my solution.
This brings us to the hardest ones, Mr. Savage.
Yeah.
If you can do these ones, you can do any of the others.
Ready to go.
Now, I believe our strategy is still going to work exactly the same, but there's an extra little something to think about. We haven't seen minus a negative before.
Right.
Have you got any tips for how to deal with when we get two signs that are side by side like that in terms of how we rewrite that in the first stage?
Yeah, well, you know what they say, two negatives make a positive.
I've heard that.
Right.
Bazinga.
So I like to imagine the two subtract signs joining together, making a nice little plus sign.
Ah, fantastic. So if the signs are the same, we can just rewrite that as a plus sign.
That's it.
Fantastic. So in our first step, we would rewrite that as just 2 plus 3.
That's it.
That's
2
fantastic.
plus 3.
And all of a sudden, it's gone from what looked like a fairly intense, difficult problem to something that I can actually do using my fingers.
Go ahead.
2 plus 3, Mr. Ellis?
5.
Even he got that one.
He's all over it. He had his hand ready.
Fantastic.
Lucky last, probably one of the most challenging ones we've done today.
Okay.
If the signs are different this time, how are we going to rewrite those in our first step?
Right, well, you've got a plus, you're plussing a negative number, so that means you're going to become more negative.
So if the signs are different, we could just rewrite that as a minus.
I think so.
That is
good
fantastic.
strategy.
All right, so we could rewrite this one as -1 minus 6. Awesome. Now this looks like a little bit of a challenge one, but I think I can visualise that number line. If here's 0, here's -1.
Yep.
If I've got to subtract 6, I'm all the way down to -7.
Sounds good to me.
And that's as tough as it gets.
Wow.
So really, our strategy just involved rewriting, getting rid of the brackets and dealing with signs if they're the same.
Yep.
And then using that number line weapon, and you cannot get these things wrong.